Yesterday was not a very good day for the government when it comes to the Bill 29 review, the Access to Information Committee struck by the government, of course chaired by Clyde Wells, other members of that committee, Jennifer Stoddart and Doug Leto. Very highly respected group. So yesterday, Minister of the Government, Sandy Collins, he's the Minister of Public Engagement, he, some people will say drew the short straw to have to represent the government when it comes to all the questions that were bound to be fired at him by the committee, and of course the questions that are posed by the general public and members of the media and otherwise. Not a good day for the government. Now, it's one thing, the government has always stood firm with, Bill 29 is necessary and reasonable legislation. The vast majority of people in the province disagree wholeheartedly. So Minister Collins yesterday did indeed concede that if there wasn't problems, that they wouldn't be in this predicament. They would not be facing the committee, wouldn't have the need to strike said committee. So right off the bat, there's an acknowledgement that there's problems with the legislation, in my opinion. Also, Clyde Wells had some pretty severe things to say yesterday, in particular about the client solicitor privilege that has been, in his words, abused. He says, client privilege has been abused and being asserted to prevent release of documents requested by the public. Far too often, we have the cabinet secrecy problem. If a document goes through cabinet, it is debated or discussed in cabinet. They have the ability to declare it a cabinet document and consequently hold it from our eyes. Sometimes that might be meaningful when it's the protection of third parties that we're doing business with and some other information. There is some need sometimes for cabinet documents to be protected. But by and large, we have to assume that that's abused as well. And then we have senior bureaucrats who understand the system, have means and methods to protect documents from the public eye. I mean, when Wells so clearly, and a man who understands the mechanisms and machinations of government, and he says it's clearly abuse being displayed by the government inside of Bill 29 and the protection of these documents. I think we're learning all we need to know about Bill 29. The Tories are not going to be able to die on this hill and defend their ill-fated and ill-advised legislation any further. Regardless of what the report says from Clyde Wells and his committee, the final report, we all know that any hope of distancing themselves from it has to come with some approach similar to the Liberals and NDP when it comes to, repeal is thrown around as if that's easy when it's not. But if there's not a clear adjustment to the benefit of us, the public, to this draconian legislation, then they are going to absolutely wear that in the general election campaign. In my opinion, it has led to more mistrust of the government than anything else, including Muskrat Falls, including deals offshore, including fracking on the West Coast, including health care and everything else that you can bring up. This is the one that really taints their tenure in government. I think that's the public and the general consensus. What do you think, Scott? Also, we've seen stories go by about the cost suffered by the province for external consultants. And then, as we all know this is true because we always request these consultants' reports, especially the draft ones, they protect and keep secret for potentially forever the draft reports provided by these external consultants. And they point to a variety of reasons why that's done. The consultant maybe didn't, this is incredible, didn't understand the realities of the material, didn't understand the geographic challenges of the province. Whatever the case may be, where the government says that, you know what, I don't think that reflects our views, and so because of it, we will protect the draft, and we will go back to them and have them rewrite it so it comes back looking how we view how it reflects our position so far as policy and direction goes. For starters, we use far too many external consultants. It's generally a way that government will hire someone independent, quasi-independent, or potentially independent, and remove themselves from any of the harsh decisions that have to be made. The external consultant recommended X, Y, and Z. But if we don't have faith in the process of external consultants, even if these consultants, by and large, want to protect their reputation and their integrity, they do the best they can. But if you're not prepared and you're ill-informed, and you don't understand the reality of the work that you've been charged to review, then why do we even hire these people? Right? So they don't understand the geographical challenges. Well, I would suggest for sometimes, and most times, the big 6-figure invoice you submit, Maybe some research is called for. I don't know. How about that for a starter? And so protecting these external consultants' draft reports is simply not good enough. And Wells acknowledges it, and it'd absolutely be part of the tale told in the final report. What do you think, Scott? So it was a tough day for Collins, and understandably so. And then we can't even... He's asked if he can point to measures taken to ensure that bureaucrats do not play a role in protecting these documents. And he couldn't point to a single example. And he doesn't know of any of the measures being taken by government to ensure that doesn't happen. Buzz, oh buzz, oh buzz.